Hey everybody, Jay and Nichole back with our next episode of the Learning Lab. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. We haven't done anything like this. We're going to talk about the technology needed for online teaching and learning. This will be beneficial for online teachers, students, and their parents.
Exactly. It's one of the things I think a lot of people struggle with. I know whenever I hire on teachers, we have to go through an entire process a lot of times on how to use the technology, what technology we're using, the best approaches for it. Surprisingly, I am quite shocked, honestly, with how often I have to give out tech advice, not only to
Oh my
teachers, but
gosh.
to parents and students as well. It's
Yes, yes.
significant. I mean, it's a
I'm
lot.
I'm more surprised about the teachers.
Yeah.
I'm more surprised. No, you cannot teach with a 15-year-old computer. You
Or Nichole, I don't know what's wrong with my computer. It's not connecting properly to the platform. And then I find out, oh, well, I haven't done the updates in 2 years. And I'm like, well, you kind of have to do that. And
Right,
well,
right,
yeah, but when
right,
it
right.
updates, I have to learn the new system. And I went, but that's why it's not working. I mean, I don't mean to harp on people, but what we should start out with is if teachers, students, parents, okay, we want to know in the comments as well what tech challenges you guys have faced in the
Sure.
online learning world. Okay, send us your challenges, your struggles, because it's something we definitely will have to revisit other than just this one-off podcast.
Mhm.
So share your stories with us, let us know, or maybe something that's going to resonate with you today that we're going to talk about. So today we decided, because we just jumped right in because we've been talking about this before we hit record, obviously. um, we're going to kick this off really. We're going to explore some of the must-have tools that every online educator needs. We're going to also show what we use or talk about what we use in our specs for our current setups for us. I think maybe we should also discuss how we shoestrung it to where we are now, because you and I
Yeah.
definitely have more of a robust system than what we started with.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
that for sure. I started with a very old
Minimal
laptop.
system.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna
I
we're gonna round it off at the end with what maybe parents and students need to know on
Mhm.
their side as well. So
Right.
it's gonna be kind of more of an all-in-one where it's beneficial for everybody today.
Exactly.
But yes, you and I did. I shoestrung it like mad when I first started. I mean, I had a second hand. I bought it secondhand
Mhm.
computer because when I had moved to the Philippines, I literally fried all of my laptops because, unbeknownst to me, the laptops in my country were more compact inside, and the tropical country I moved to was not very conductive to that laptop. They all
Hey,
overheated and fried.
yep, yep.
So, oh my goodness. So, why don't we start with what an online teacher needs to start? What do you think?
Okay, sure. So I think there's a couple different levels we need to look at: budget, mid-range, and top end. Okay.
Yep.
Um, I guess I'll start with the top end instead of the bottom. We'll start at the top.
All right.
So a top end computer, if you're using Intel, would be like something with an i9 processor, at least 32 gigs of RAM, um, possibly a discrete graphics card. Now, this setup I would only recommend for somebody that teaches, but also does a lot of video editing and stuff like that, where they need the extra power. Most teachers don't need that. Most teachers don't need that. Also, got to have an internet connection, obviously. And
Fiber.
fiber, yes. And I would not sacrifice speed over stability. So
Mm.
if you can get a 50 megabyte connection, I know that sounds slow. Trust me, it's more than enough for teaching and is rock solid. I would take that over a somewhat unstable 500 megabit connection.
Mm-mm.
I would, the stability is really important.
That is,
Um,
I would say, top priority over speed, 100%.
right, right. Because people won't believe it when I say 50 megabits is more than enough for teaching. Trust me, you can teach with 15.
Yep.
Uh, without, if it's stable, you will have no problems. I
Es-
have a, excuse me, while I stand up and sit on my
mm,
leg. Um, you and I both have a gigabit connection.
yep.
And, I think you have more stability problems than I do right now. Same internet company, same country, different islands. But yeah, I think that, would you go back to your 200 megabit connection if it were more stable right now?
100%.
Can you even tell the difference between a 1 gigabit and a 200 when you're teaching?
When I'm teaching, no. Then there's other things
Right.
that I do that would take a
Right.
little bit longer, but when I'm teaching, no, not even. And I use a lot of the advanced teaching tools.
Hmm.
So I'm not just using PDFs. So yeah, I would 100% go down if that connection was stable, reliable, wasn't always dipping in speed. Sorry, my brain needs to
Hmm.
catch up with my mouth apparently. Um, I would definitely 100% go down any day of the
Yeah.
week. And I have a
Yeah.
lot of connection issues. So I have a lot of backup systems. So this is somebody
Right.
who's talking with, like, I have a very heavily curated backup systems going on
Hmm.
here. And I would
Yep.
every day I would go down.
Now, um, we're so before we move on to like a middle of the range setup, um, the backup systems, what kind of backup systems are you talking about here?
Okay, well, I have two generators. So I have a full diesel
Mhm.
5,000 watt generator for my house. I have a smaller 3,000 watt gas generator also. So that's a faster, easy hookup. So I can power my entire house if I need to. I don't like to do that unless I've gone past about 8 hours of no power. I live in
Mhm.
an area I have power outages, but I do have a power station that can hold up to 500 watts, I think is what I got.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it has a very large battery, so I can power all my classes, all my devices that I need to, for about 4 hours before I need to plug in and take the generator out and charge everything back up again.
How many of
And
these do you have? This is
those,
a power bank.
oh
I have a whole
yeah,
drawer full of them.
yours is small compared to my
I have
bad
a
boy.
big beast. Ah, that's a big one. Yeah, I have bigger ones too. This just happens to be the one that's sitting next to me.
I've got this one because this one will run my lighting system.
Hmm.
So I don't have to run that off my power bank, my power stations. This is why my power station can actually go up to about 5 to 6 hours, depending on what I'm
Hmm.
plugging in. So if this is fully charged, which I need to recharge, um, this will run all of my lighting systems, my phones. Everything will go off of this. Um, then I have two more of those actually. I have the 10,000 and the 20,000.
Hmm.
And all of them are beasts. They'll just run
Right.
and run and run. To
What
Yep.
one thing I would recommend for your router
I have one
is
of those.
a cable like this. So this plugs into the back of the router. It's just a regular barrel jack. I forget what it's called. And then a USB connection. My 30,000 milliamp power bank will run that router for about 11 hours.
You saw me digging under a bed that's down here.
But
I
yeah, I can
do.
run my router for like 11 hours off of that.
This is
Right.
the one I use as a bypass for my
Mhm.
router. This I have two of them.
Mhm.
So the reason I have two is this one will do the jacks and my router. But if for some reason I go with a longer power outage than needed, I have a secondary. This one is a bypass. So this isn't one that you plug in when your power goes out. This is one that's
Right.
always in, so you never lose signal. So when my power goes out, it just keeps going. This is
Right.
fiber. That's why we say fiber.
Mhm.
The reason why fiber is DSL when the power goes out, your internet goes out.
Right.
But when you have fiber, when your power goes out, as long as the station where the fiber is coming from still has power, you have internet.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. This thing has saved me a lot of classes.
Yep, that
Now
thing
on
has saved
the
me.
so that was the kind of the Intel setup. If you're using a Mac setup, like obviously the high end is going to be a Mac Pro. You don't, I wouldn't say you definitely need a Mac Pro to teach. A MacBook Air is fine. Um, anyways, so a medium setup, what would you consider a medium setup in the
Medium
middle?
setup, I would say laptop. I would say a good, decent laptop.
Like
Now, I used to have a desk.
i5, like
Yeah,
an i5? Yeah.
that's what I'm
Okay.
running as an i5. I upgraded from an i3 to an i5. I did go with a gaming system, but that's only because of my video editing. I
Mhm.
if you have a lot if you have a lot of power outages, I don't recommend a gaming laptop. They take
Yeah,
more
that's
power. They
there's
don't
no
last as
battery
long.
time.
I didn't
But
only because of my video
if you
editing.
have a modern laptop, like within the past few years,
Mm.
you can run it off a power bank if you have USB-C charging on it. So I would definitely consider that.
But also remember that PCs like my Lenovo, while I can run it off of those,
Mhm.
I found out because Jay can because he has a Mac. But my power draw off of a power bank is higher than the standard power draw off of a power bank. So I have to get special
Right.
power banks that will do a higher draw.
But it will still at least slow down the battery drain. It'll at least
No,
slow it down.
no,
Really? It won't,
it won't charge it at all.
oh, it
It
won't
won't
charge at
draw it at
all.
all. So I have to have
Okay.
actually a special power bank that does
Mhm.
the higher um draw. So I think
Okay.
it's a minimum of 45 and most of them
That
are
sounds about
20.
right.
Most
Yeah.
of them are
That sounds,
20. And so
yeah.
it won't even register it. So,
And
but you just have to get the more expensive power bank.
right. On the Mac side, I would say, mm, if you went with a MacBook Air, which is a laptop, you want to get one with mid-range would be 16 gig. And I'm talking the M series MacBooks, not the Intel series. Those are pretty old now. Or even a Mac Mini. Those would be mid-range, I think, on the Mac side. And then the low end, we've got the low end. Um,
I would say it's still a laptop, but we're going to talk like bare minimum to get what you need, which would be like i3, maybe one of the lower end graphics cards, built in camera. You're not, oh, we forgot to talk about cameras.
yeah,
Um,
most laptop cameras aren't so good.
no, but if we're talking low end, you can get away with it though.
Yep, it's enough
Um,
for teaching.
it is.
Yeah. Um,
Um, I would say low end, you if you're gonna do low end when it comes to the camera, you will need a light ring, but they're cheap now.
yep. Yeah. Yeah. $5.
Yeah.
$5 literally.
And I have
Um,
them. I have the
and
light ring.
so RAM on a low end, you can get by on a Windows machine with 8
250.
gig,
Mm.
not hard drive,
Yeah, I know. I was
RAM.
gonna say 250 and I went, whoops, wrong one. Yeah, it's 8 gig.
Um,
Yeah.
16 gig is kind of where I would want to be at the lowest, but you can do it with 8. It can be done with 8.
I would
Uh,
say never get a laptop that can't be expanded though, that
right,
doesn't have an
right,
open slot. So when you do need it, it's available and you're not buying a new unit.
right. And just if you're going to use, so they'll come with one slot filled. If you're going to upgrade it to 16, try and get a laptop where you can change both. You can fill both slots with your own. You can remove the one that's in there and put two identical chips in there. I would
Hmm.
definitely recommend that. If you can't do that, then you just got to find something that matches the speed, because you want to take advantage of the dual channel memory. And I'm getting way too technical, so I'll stop
Well,
there.
yeah, yeah. I think because a lot of people don't understand why it's important to have the two
Right,
chips. Me and
right,
Jay has a lot more than me, but we both have a bit of a technical background where,
right,
we
right.
understand a bit of our setups. Because
Now,
I did buy it expandable myself. So I
mhm,
had 16. I started with
Mhm.
16, and then I doubled it. So I bought new
Right.
cards, and I bought
Gotcha.
two because I wanted the same chips because I couldn't get the same one. It was
Now,
well.
that being said, I want to uh, iterate something. 8 gigabytes on a Mac machine is not the same as 8 gigabytes on a Windows machine. They're
Mm.
totally different. And you can, I used a MacBook Air with 8 gigabytes of RAM, a M1 MacBook Air, and ran classes, no problem. Did video editing, no problem. And you can pick one of those up for an M1 for $500 or $600 now. New, new.
Oh, I take that back. I started with an 8. It was a different
Yeah,
laptop. I started with 16. I replaced the 8 with two 16s because I had two
right,
slots. That's what
right.
I did.
Um,
Noticeable difference.
Yeah, yeah. Um, that's on the, I would, if somebody's on a budget, I would highly recommend an M1 MacBook Air if they just, if they don't have a monitor and all the peripherals, I would 100% recommend a MacBook Air M1, $600 max. It's going to have 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigs of hard drive storage, but you're going to probably need an external drive for that to store stuff
Mm.
because you will run out of drive space. But it's not the end of the world. Um,
Well, and then if you're like me, I'm a massive anti Apple person. It's something we tease each other about. You can get a really good secondhand laptop that meets the minimum specs to
yep.
get you started. I will admit, 100% disclosure, when I first started, because now I'm going to talk about my shoestring setup. Ha ha
Mhm.
ha. I used I don't know if anybody knows what it is. I think it's called, oh, it's been a long time. Desk space, I think is what it's called. Desk space. Basically I used a really old laptop that I had that no longer could be used. Like it was a glorified typewriter,
Mhm.
but it gave me a second screen.
Right, right.
And so there was an application you could load on the old laptop with a old
Mhm.
desktop, and the other one to share screens between them through the router. So you can shoestring it. You can get a lower end i3. Just be aware that some of the schools now, a few of them have started asking for the i5s.
Right.
Um, but for now, to get going, you could start with an i3, depending on the school, just to get yourself up and running to get those paychecks to
And
maybe upgrade.
I wouldn't get anything on the Windows side older than like 3 years. I just would not buy anything older than 3 years old. But what about peripherals?
Um, what do you
You
have?
need them. Well, I have I prefer wireless headsets. I have this. I've had these for 6 years. They were expensive. I'm not going to lie. Um, these were about $250.
Mm,
I used they're starting to go though. I think the battery's starting to die, or my computer's not reading the percentage right because they've been at 10% for an hour now. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. For for a camera, I used a Logitech, the standard streamer webcam for many years, Logitech C920. But I finally swapped it out because I thought the picture was a little blurry, um, to something called a Streamplify. It seems to be fine. The specs are almost identical to the 920, the Logitech C920. It's okay. I do have, as you can see here, I do have a microphone, but I don't use it for teaching. It's annoying to have it right in front of my face, but it does give a better audio quality than anything like this.
yeah,
When, when people talk about noise canceling, even the manufacturers are a little deceiving
yeah.
because real noise canceling is active noise canceling. You need power to the headphones. And these, they say noise canceling. They're really not. They're
I
really
think
not.
they're more along the lines of maybe noise reduction, but not
Yes.
canceling. Because I
Right.
have had headsets where it picks up everything in the sun. And then
Right.
I've had ones where, I have dogs going off or what, and it's not
Mhm.
picking it up. So
Right.
I don't really think it's true noise canceling, more like noise reduction or
Right.
voice recognition type of software where it's
Right.
recognizing a voice over the extra noise.
Right. Yeah. And like your headphones that you're wearing right now, those I would classify those as noise reducing. Um,
Mm,
because you've got this and it reduces the sounds around you. But like active noise canceling, those are going to be like your Bose
mm,
headphones, your Sony MX, I think are
yeah.
fives. These are, but they're really expensive. They're $300 plus for a
Yeah.
set,
See,
you
mine
know.
are like Shopee finds. So now for me, I like gaming setups.
Mhm.
So just because the wear and tear tends to be a little bit on the higher end for a lower cost. So I get like the benefit of not spending too much, but getting something that lasts a little bit longer. So for example, I like the gaming mouses. So even though my keyboard comes with the mouse, yeah, this one's funky. I don't know. This is new from yesterday. My old one, this one, the battery started going. So this is my old one here. But
Mhm.
I like them because the scroll is the first thing to go on most mouses. And because it's a gaming one, it's more robust. It's a little bit bigger
Mhm.
for the hand. It has extra buttons built in. It's more sensitive to moving around. So it does a little bit more. Yes, yeah, I hate those with passion. So I do
This
these ones.
this I use it's called the Logitech MX Anywhere 3.
Hmm.
And they have another one that's similarly named, and my son's using it, but it's huge. And I gave it to my son because I hated it. It was so big. This is very small, and I go for all wireless
Yeah, me too.
peripherals. Um, but this was about, I don't know, like $70. It wasn't too bad, and one charge lasts about 3 months.
If you want to convert this into dollars, even my other one, we're talking like 10, $12.
Right, right,
And
right,
they'll last me like the last one I had is I think this one's like 3 years old and
Mhm.
it still works. I just don't like the fact that I have to keep it plugged in
Right.
because it doesn't charge as like it used to. But
Mhm.
these ones, these charges, like now, these ones, this charge will last me like almost 2 weeks before I have to plug it in.
Right.
Same thing with my keyboard. My keyboards are all wireless now too, and they don't buy wireless keyboards with batteries,
Right.
rechargeable. You will go
Right.
through batteries like nobody's business. Plug in rechargeable. The internal batteries are good now. I go almost 3 weeks before I have to plug in my keyboard,
Yeah.
and I'm using it like crazy.
I use this right here. This is the Logitech keys. It's low profile. It can connect to, like, I think Nicole's does too. It can connect to like 3 different devices. So I
Yeah.
can connect it to my tablet. Same with my mouse. I can connect it to my tablet, or
Mhm.
I don't know why I would ever connect any of that to my phone, but if I wanted to, I could.
I did. I connected it to my cell phone and my
Mhm.
my my computer and my tablet.
Right.
Now I have Samsung tablets and phone, but I connected to them all and I would just push between them so I could do the different things. But yeah, I mean, and see, he has all the Logitech, but again, I'm in the Philippines, so I got like Shopee finds. This one came with a mouse. I don't use
Nobody
it.
knows what Shopee is here. Only
It's
you and I know.
oh
It's
yeah,
Amazon. It's like Amazon.
it's like, Asia's version of Amazon, but
Right.
like cheap stuff. And so I think this one may have been $20.
Mhm.
This one might have been the $20 one. I think I paid more for this one.
This one
No,
was
12.
more
This was
than
12.
this was about $100.
Yeah,
This
see.
That's high end, yeah.
And I've had this one for 3 years. I got it the same time I got this one, and my
Mhm.
keyboard's actually lasting longer. Um, but yeah, what else do I have? Okay, so
Well,
the rest of
why don't you tell us about your whole setup
Oh,
actually?
my whole setup. Okay, so I used to have a desktop, but with all the power outages and I kept frying my computer literally, so I had to get UPSs, which those don't last very long. It's very
Right.
expensive. So I ended up dumping my desktop. Mind you, I miss the power of my desktop like nobody's business.
Yeah.
But anyways, I did go with the laptop with a
Mhm.
secondary screen. So I have a 27-inch curved screen as my teaching, plus my laptop on the side on a stand. And then I have my camera is actually Logitech as well, but mine is the C930.
Mhm.
E, I believe, for business. And then I have like external drive for storage. I have an M.2. That was Jay's suggestion to help me out with moving some of my programs. It's basically giving me a secondary drive to store a lot of my programs on. So my laptop does have the 32 um, gigabyte.
Gigabytes.
Thank you. And then I have the 1 terabyte inside, but mine's a gaming laptop. So my power consumption is a little higher because of my video editing. So if I were to replace my laptop, I would not get a gaming one just because of the power outages I have. But I can still run my classes if I minimize all my backgrounds, my stuff in the background. I can still run my classes for about 2 hours off of
Okay.
on a bad day, it's an hour.
And
If
you
I've
put
got too
your
much.
laptop on a stand so you're not looking
Yes.
down all the time. You're looking
Yes, I
straight at
do.
it.
I have a portable stand that's metal that will pop up. I
Mhm.
take that with me, but I did buy more of a heavy duty stand that actually will rotate. So that it's very important for cooling, but also to get your camera up at the right place and you're not hunched
Right,
over. Yeah.
right.
The rest of my setup is I do have a tablet with a stand and I do have my phone over here with the stand as well. Plus, I got this, but I don't use it all the time. And then I've got my big bad boy. It looked like the air traffic controller. The kids like that I have the little thing, so I don't turn it off.
Right,
But
right. All right.
and then of course I've got my power station and some of my backup powers. Oh, I actually have special lights in my office that when the power goes out, my overhead lights stay on. So they're
Mhm.
they're like a rechargeable light bulb. So it's a regular
Yeah.
light bulb when it's on, but when the power goes off, it stays on. I think
Okay,
that's
cool.
it. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so
That's
my setup,
hmm.
want me to do mine?
Yep,
Or
go
did I
for it.
cut you off? I didn't mean
No,
to
I'm
cut you
good.
off.
I'm good. I think I went too long. Sorry.
I use an M4 Mac Mini, very, very affordable. It's a $600 mini computer that's about this big. It
Oh,
takes up
that's
this much space on my desk. Um,
and he was
and
super excited when he got it.
oh, you have no idea. You have no idea. And I upgraded from an M1 MacBook Air, and I
Mm,
still have it, and it was fine to teach with. I just wanted it. I just wanted it. Um, it is faster, obviously. The M1 now is like 5 years old, but I can still teach on it. It's not a problem. Um, and the M1 MacBook Air, I want to highlight the battery life for those that's important to. The advertising says 16 to 18 hours. You're never going to get that teaching, but I did get 8 to 9 hours on it teaching on
that's
battery.
pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. Um, if you're just web surfing, it'll last all day on battery. Um, so the M4 Mac Mini was about $600. I have a 27-inch monitor plugged into it with my peripherals, my keyboard, mouse, camera. Um, the I would highly recommend the Mac Mini over the MacBook Air unless you need the portability.
Ah,
Um, if you need the portability, then I would highly recommend a MacBook Air. If you're doing a lot of video editing, I'm not talking about 1 or 2 minute videos, but like 30-minute videos, then 2K and 4K resolution, then I would go with a MacBook Pro, but that's going to cost significantly more. Like I said, you can still get a MacBook Air M1 for $500 to $600, brand new. Um, the current generations, they're going to cost you about $1,000, which still is not unreasonable. Um, and now the M1 is going to come with 8 gigs of RAM, but the M2, M3, M4 MacBook Airs, they all come with 16 gig now of RAM. Will you
that's a
notice it?
lot.
Probably won't notice it though. You probably won't notice the difference. I don't notice the difference in my Mac Mini to my MacBook Air. I don't, unless
Hmm.
I'm doing video editing. When I'm
Okay.
doing video editing, then it's different. But as far as normal day-to-day stuff, teaching, I can't tell the difference. Um, I also, I wish you know what? I'm going to put pictures in the podcast of my setup, and Nicole will too. I just tasked her.
I gotta clean off
Um,
the desk.
I have a very minimalist setup. There's not a lot on my desk usually, not right now, but usually. Um, I also use a standing desk, so I can raise and lower it. But to be honest, I might raise it twice a year. I don't really do it. I should do it more, but I don't. Um, and that's my basic setup. Um, I do have external storage. What else do I have here that would be important to anybody? That's it. I do have lighting, but as you can see, I'm not using it right now. Half my
Me
face
either.
is dark because I sit next to a window. Um, oh, as far as backup, internet backup, I don't know. Most people should know this by now, but you can connect your phone
Mm.
to your computer and use it as backup internet. Most people should know that by now, but just in case somebody out there that didn't know,
I cannot.
you can.
No, I can, but there's no signal. I live in the black
Oh,
hole of
yeah,
internet connection.
right. Where I live, we get 5G. I'm not even worried about it.
I can't even get 1G. I'm like,
I would just like a G, please. A
really?
G.
Gee, I would seriously. I mean, like, I'm talking like the old school first generation connectivity, where I'm sitting there going, please let the text go through.
I have lived in places like that. Oh my gosh.
It
You
depends
know,
on the weather.
when I, prior to teaching, when I worked in Afghanistan, oh my God, we had to pay for cellular service from a local company for our personal stuff. So what I did was I had three cell phones and I used this software that would combine the internet connection of all three into one. Um, so it essentially didn't quite triple my internet speed, but I got like 2.5 times the speed that way.
That was pretty
Um,
sweet. That was pretty good.
is I, is
It
I.
was better than it was before, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, now that we know what our setups are, though, what about our favorite applications that we'd like to use outside of our setup?
Okay. Well, we got the basic stuff that you need, like your platform,
Mm-hmm.
Zoom, Tencent, Fun Class, Koala Go, Class In. I use all of these. Um,
Yep.
that as far as software that I need for teaching, that's all I really need. OBS occasionally. Um, and I do use Canva, but not in class. Do you use it in class?
I don't use it in class, but I use it for all the other stuff.
Hmm.
I'm getting beeps in my headset, like something's going in and out, like I'm losing connection on something. You know that.
Oh, a
Uh,
USB.
yeah, and I'm trying to figure out what USB it is. It's probably my headset because my headset is well, that was
Okay.
different. Yes. Oh, I think
Now,
it's this one.
you use some things like you use teaching tool applications. I don't use those. What are they?
Oh, okay. So some of the materials that I like to teach, quite a few of them, I have what's called the teaching tool or the iTool. So
Mhm.
it's basically a program that has all the student books, the workbooks, the videos, the audios, some of the extra like fun games and
Mhm.
activities. It's all in a one built-in system for the teacher to use.
And these
Um,
are from like common textbooks that a lot of teachers use in class. Like I don't know what's one of them like
like
Reading
Oxford
Explorer. There
Discover,
you go,
Oxford
Oxford.
Discover,
Right,
yeah, Reading
right.
Explorer, Oxford Discover, like those types of materials. I have some
Mhm.
adult ones. I've pretty much transitioned into almost all of those.
Okay.
So I use them quite heavily. I love them. It makes it much easier for me to teach. I don't have to worry about flipping between, different applications or different files in my computer. It's all in one place. Um, but it does put a little bit more of a workload on my PC.
Right.
So I do have the PDF versions as a backup. If I lose power too long or I'm trying to conserve power on my computer, I can flip back to them. Um,
N-
hmm?
Do you use OBS to record classes? I don't
I
anymore.
used to when I first started, when I worked for a lot of the Chinese companies,
Hmm.
just to protect myself personally and have my own recordings. Now I find I only use it in specific instances, usually when I'm doing recordings for myself, like Teacher Cole's story time.
Hmm.
I like to use Zoom for me personally, and then I'll use OBS to do like the flipping of the pages and the books I'm using and things like that. So if I want extra
Okay.
windows, or if I'm doing some
Okay.
type of teaching that I need to show part of the screen that maybe Zoom won't actually show its own buttons. So I have to do the
Right.
full screen capture.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
What else do I use? iMovie, but that's just a video editor I like.
I use CapCut and
Yeah.
DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is 100% free, but there's a massive learning curve with it.
Mm,
CapCut is easy, simple.
yeah.
It does a good job.
Now, I would say start with the free versions, but for me, Zoom, I do the paid version, and that's just
So do I.
because I have classes that are longer than the free, and I don't like doing the break in the middle to come back to get
Mhm.
another free. I also really like the AI summary that Zoom does with the free. I do give
Mhm.
this to my older students. It avoids the memos for me. Canva, I need the paid version of that. There's a lot
Me
of things
too.
I use on Canva that's paid. I'm trying to think, what else do I use that's paid?
Well,
Oh,
you mentioned AI.
Chat
Yes.
GPT.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. The difference between the paid version and the free version is significant. It's a completely different output, different management system, different process, different, oh, it's
Mhm.
just completely different. Especially with the update with the project folders.
Yeah, the project folders to me was the
Game changer for me.
right. That was just it saves me so much time. So what is a project folder for those that don't know what we're talking about?
Think of the folder system in your computer, right? So instead of having everything in the downloads folder where you're just looking for each file individually and trying to make them connect, you're actually reorganizing everything into basically like a card catalog. You're putting all of your projects together into one central folder that's labeled for that project. So AI is
Mhm.
not looking through all the things that you've done and overload its memory
Right.
capacity. It's only looking in that folder, so it's more direct, it's targeted, it's faster,
Yeah,
and it
and
learns
also
better.
yeah, the folders you can also so for example, I have a project called IELTS and I gave it a bunch of instructions on what I want for IELTS and uh it just works. It just works.
Oh
And I
yeah,
even have some for students, like
me
particular
too.
students, I have that. And different like social media,
Well,
OET.
the nice thing with the project folders is it's not just you put your threads there, right?
Right.
You can put your specific files to teach it that you want there, and you can add specific instructions for
Right.
that folder. So
Exactly.
it was a complete game changer for me. It's to the point now that I would be very hard pressed if somebody asked me to switch AI providers to maybe something else that
It's just
they
not
said
worth
is
it anymore.
it's not. I've trained it so well to my voice, it literally writes exactly how I would write.
The- You
And
know, I'm using ChatGPT now, but it's actually not my favorite AI.
mm,
I actually like Claude better, but the projects was just too much for me to turn away. And also, ChatGPT gives you access to a bunch of other
yeah.
AI tools, which Claude doesn't do. Unless if it does, I don't know that.
Now,
I
what I
haven't.
do like to do is I do like to sometimes take the output and put it into other things to see how it would
Mhm.
change it, and sometimes get a different output just to, for some variety. But I would say at this point for teaching, AI is a must. While I'm teaching, literally, I will screenshot and throw it into AI to get stuff that I can apply immediately into my class while we're talking.
I even use it to create classes for me. I
Hmm.
I had it create a debate class for me. Thank you, Katie Prescott, for the wonderful advice and everything on how to do that. But I had it create a Star Wars debate class for
Oh,
me.
that's cool.
We did a debate. One of them was on the the famous Yoda phrase, do or do not. There is no try, whatever. And then also on Luke, I'm your father. On that, we did a whole debate on those two topics in class. This wasn't a formal debate, more like a discussion debate. I don't know if that's even a term, but we're going with it.
No,
We're going with
I had it help me with the debate class as well. We did
it. Mhm.
teams, but instead, I had some students that were a little weaker in debating and had struggled
Mhm.
with it. So we did teams, and I took the two stronger students and put them with the two weaker students. But I made them
Right.
coaches and speakers. So one was a coach, one was a speaker, and it helped create the parameters for that and the
Like a template,
directions. Yeah,
like
for
a
the kids.
template.
Yeah.
Yep.
I use it
Yep.
for a lot of adult topics. I think at this point for online teaching and teachers in classrooms, I think it is invaluable and it just saves a lot of time.
Yep. Now, what about parents and students? What should they, there's going to be a lot of similarities of what they need and what we need. One of the biggest areas that has always been a sore spot with me, it's so much better if the student wears headphones.
Yeah.
It is
Yes.
so much better.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh, and and why do I say that? Well, it's so much easier to hear what somebody's saying when they're coming through on headphones. And to be honest, most tablets and laptops don't have very good microphones. The headphone microphones are usually much better, but I'm talking about headphones with a microphone like this.
yeah, they need a
Not
boom.
right. Boom.
Yep,
They
right,
need a
exactly.
boom.
Exactly. Well, but there's many reasons for this though, the headsets. First of all, I think they should do the ones like where it's over the ears, okay? So it's
Mhm.
not in their ears, it's not creating any damage or anything, and it's over the ear. Something that has volume control easily for the kids, okay? Um, but the it's it's distracting for them, people around them. So this way they're more focused on you, right? But also we can hear them better when they have the microphone. The
Yes.
distraction around, also it cancels out some of the noise. And my biggest complaint is not only is it hard for me to hear them, but the feedback. They will turn up the
Yes.
volume so loud to hear us that
I
it's
hear
feeding back
myself.
and I'm hearing
Yes.
myself and
Ah,
I
it
can't
gives you a
teach.
headache really quick. And now, all you tiger moms out there, the headphones are going to drive you crazy because you're not going to hear what's going on, but you just got to trust the teacher. Okay.
Well, I mean, if you absolutely, okay, I'm gonna spill the beans, okay? If you absolutely 100% feel like you need to have a headset with your child, Bluetooth it.
Right.
Computers can accept more than one Bluetooth connection.
Yeah, but I don't think they can output to two at the same time.
Mm, yes, they can, you can hear, they might not be able to do the input, but,
I'm not sure.
and there's also splitters. If you want to go old
Right.
school, you could do a splitter.
Right.
And that means that when you plug in the USB, it has two places to jack into headphones. Okay, so but most devices nowadays will do more than one, just like your cell phones can now do more than one.
Mhm.
Or, heaven forbid, you join as a second person, make it a group call, and you can join from your phone and walk around and do your laundry and stuff and listen in.
That would be that would be okay.
I
That
would
would
be
be probably the
completely
best.
okay with that because
But
that way you don't have to interject until I'd be like, Mom, can
you
you
know,
translate? You know?
that I asked one mom to get headphones for her son, and she was a helicopter mom. I'm not gonna lie. It drove her crazy. It absolutely. They were using earbuds, which that's not the best thing, but it's better than nothing. And the student had one in his ear, and mom was hunched over and had the other one in her
Oh,
ear.
nice. Well, my other biggest complaint is if they're going to use headphones and they start to go out, get new ones.
Right. They don't last forever.
I have a student who, for a year now, I've told her every class for a year, tell your mom to buy new headphones. I cannot hear you. Put your microphone
Mhm.
in front of your mouth. I mean, it's becoming annoying for me, but when they go get new ones, my next topic is practice the platform at home. Do not ask the teacher how to fix something on your computer on
Right.
your screen. I don't
Because
know what you're looking at.
right, exactly. I don't use an iPad at all. A lot of students do. They don't know where the pen is, and neither do I. I
Well,
don't know how to access the pen.
what people don't understand, and I should take a screenshot while we're here, what people don't understand is that we are the host. We are the one
Right,
hosting the meeting. Our screens look different than yours.
right,
Because when I'm not the host, I'm the guest. I'll sit there and go, where's the buttons? Because it's been so long since I've been the guest, I
right,
can't find it.
right. Yeah.
I do it. So practice at home. Both of you log in on two different devices and find where your stuff is. Have the parent log in as the host and the child join the meeting. Practice using the pen, practice not only finding it, but using it, practice typing. These are
Speaking
skills
of
you need to know.
speaking of pens, everybody out there with iPads and Apple Pencil or any tablet that comes with a pencil, honestly, especially for the younger kids, they don't have
Use
the
your finger.
dexterity, right? They don't have the dexterity yet. Use your finger. It's so much easier. It will save so much time.
I have a pen on my Samsung tablet
Me too.
and I still use my finger.
I haven't used that thing. I don't, it's a miracle after 5 years, I still have the pen and I haven't lost it.
Mine's magnetic to the back of the thing. So,
Right.
but
Um,
I rarely use it only when I have to do something that's really fine that I really
mhm.
need that point on the pencil. Otherwise, I just use my finger.
Or I just feel like I need to use a pencil.
I mean,
But
there's that.
yeah,
But so, yeah, I mean, practicing the platform, headphones, but also using those tools. For me, my biggest one is if you do homework, know how to turn it in with the
right.
proper file format. So a lot of the file formats in Asia are not general formats. So I'll get like video formats or file formats that I can't open or use. And I'm like,
And send me a file, not a picture of the homework.
well, it's actually required. I require PDFs. I will not correct anything that's not a PDF.
Mhm.
And there's a reason why, because I can open it and write on that to
Right,
correct it. I can open it either in the Google Drive and edit it, or I can just open it in Microsoft Edge and it has editing tools.
right.
I cannot correct your homework or give you feedback if I don't have the ability to easily write on it.
If you don't know how to convert it to PDF, just ask your teacher. They will
I
tell you.
I have videos on how to do it. But I mean, worst case scenario, you can just put it into a Word document and convert it to PDF. They have
Right.
PDF software and they have pictures now where you can take a picture on your cell phone and send it right
Make it a
off.
PDF. Yep.
That's how I teach
Yep.
my parents.
Yep.
I
Definitely.
think that's pretty much all the tools that I think that really kids need to know is headphones, practice, and
Oh,
then how
and
to turn in.
their device, obviously
Oh,
something from 10 years ago probably isn't going to work very well. Although I will say, like a lot of the tablets seem to have a longer lifespan than computers.
have your cords plugged in and ready to go before class
Yeah,
starts.
yeah,
Do you know how
charged.
many kids I've had run out of battery in the middle of class or they're running looking for cords? I just say have the cords there ready to go. So if you run out because you forgot to do it, it's ready to be plugged in and no bathroom
And
visits.
that's that's something that's so foreign to me because my things, to me, if it's not 100% charged, it's almost unusable. I have to have them charged all the way, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I mean, I have a monthly charging cycle for all my backup power. I automatically on the first just automatically charge everything that hasn't
mhm,
been depleted. Like my power bank doesn't get depleted all the time, but I plug it in on the first of every month to make sure I top it off.
sure. And you don't have to, teachers and students, you don't have to pay a lot of money. You do, if you want to, that's fine, but you don't have to. You can do very well if you're going to use a tablet, probably a $300 budget. That'd probably cover everything you need. If you want a computer, well, like I said, the minimum, if you're going to go minimum, I would honestly go Mac because I would not want to use an i3 computer. I think they're awful. i5s are fine though, but that's
Hmm.
more mid-range. I don't think you need to spend headphones. You don't have to spend $250 on headphones. I do because I use them every day for 8 hours a day.
Oh, mine
Um,
are like $20 headphones.
right. You can do $20, $50. Anything over 100, you're getting into a different category and they're going to be expensive. You do not need one of these.
No.
I only have it for podcasts and video recording.
See, I'm
Uh,
I'm
I
I'm picky. I like the ones that bend.
I like them. I like to flip them up. They're gone.
This one I didn't remember when I found out that I could take it out.
Right.
I didn't know that it was a cool feature, by the way.
Right.
Um, yeah, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Again, make sure that cords, have your cords ready. That's the
Right.
one thing that a lot of kids will jump out of class because they run out of battery. I think that's pretty much it. Is there anything else that you can think of?
No, I think we're pretty good there. My biggest thing is there's something for everybody at every price point with your equipment.
There
There's
is.
there's no need if you don't have the money, you don't have to
Don't
borrow.
spend it.
You don't have to throw it on a credit card. You can do it on the lower end. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Over the years, I've upgraded and
Mhm.
upgraded and upgraded. At
And
one
that's what
point,
people don't realize is, they see our systems and they hear what we have, but you know, I've upgraded to this point over like about 6 years. I mean,
yeah,
I have a budget every year that I upgrade something and I get to the
mhm,
next level, but I didn't just run out. I mean, I shoestrung it like crazy. I mean, we're
yeah,
talking secondhand refurbished computer because at the time
yeah.
I didn't have the money. My computer's all crashed.
I
I
used
had
a
$5
7-year-old
headphones.
i5 laptop for a couple of years. 7 years
Yeah,
old. It got me
right.
by. I wouldn't do it now, but if I were on a budget and that's what I had money for, that's what I would
I
use.
had one of those little itty bitty C something Logitech bare minimum cameras.
You know
Um,
what? I still have that camera.
I still have mine too, I think. I
And you know
believe.
what? I actually like the picture output on that better than I do the expensive C920.
I like my C30. I ended up doing the C30. When I decided to upgrade my camera, that was one of the first big upgrades I did
Mhm.
was my camera.
Yeah.
I almost got the C20. I ended up getting the C30, and I'm glad I did, but I got the C30E, and I wish I hadn't. It doesn't come with the built-in software to really adjust and
Mhm.
monitor the picture itself. I had to get
All right.
something else as a patch. C30 I recommend, but not with the E.
930, not
Is that
C30.
nine? Sorry, 930.
C930. Come
Whoops.
on, get with it, man.
Whoops,
We're
I
we're
know.
nerd episode.
I know. Sorry. C930. Sorry. But don't get it with the E tag on it. It'll drive you crazy. I had to download a Logitech software to kind of play with it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I
So
think
what's
that's
up?
pretty much it. I think that's it.
What's up
So
for next week?
next week is going to be a dun, 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 surprise because it'll be a surprise for us too. This is the month of we are not quite sure what we're doing. And not because, we don't know what to do. It's more of we've changed our process a bit and we're trying to make some executive decisions because we're coming to the end of our season. So we came up with that new investigative series, which we're really
Mhm.
liking. We have our wrap up, which includes the Hall of Fame, Wall of Shame. I was going to say that
Yeah.
backwards. Really, I was. Oh, by the way, if you didn't catch that, that was last week's episode. So if you're really interested on who made the cut this last month, check out last week's episode because that's where it's
For
at.
sure.
We do have some interesting things we're thinking of for this month. We're debating already
Mhm.
whether we're going to add people or businesses to this month.
Right.
Inquiring minds want to know. Stay tuned.
I want to
Um,
know.
so yeah, we're playing around with a couple ideas for next week. What's one of those ideas that we had that we were thinking about? I
Don't
can't.
put me on the spot like
I
that.
know, right?
You don't, you're trying to think of it, so you pushed it off to me.
I know.
Next week we were looking at some of the teacher coaches out there that,
Yeah, okay.
you
Oh yeah,
know,
revisiting that. Yeah.
that, Yeah, I'm going to be very honest. I think there's a lot of frauds out
Yeah.
there in the teacher coaching realm. There's some really good ones, but there's also some frauds that, in my opinion, are frauds. Maybe you disagree. That's okay.
No,
That's okay.
I actually agree with you in this realm. And I think coaching in general, to be honest, and I'm a coach. So like,
Hmm.
yeah, there's quite a few are coaches because they can't.
Right.
So, but there is something to be said about, and I've mentioned this before sometimes, where some people are really good at teaching people how to do something,
Yep.
but not successful at doing it themselves for some reason.
Yep.
And there's certain segments of coaching that I'm actually really good at that, where I am really good at helping people do it, but for some reason I'm not successful with myself. It's really weird. Not everything I do, but there's just like one segment that I do that I've been able to help people really well. For some reason, I can't translate it to myself. And I'm
Mhm.
very transparent about that. I tell people that straight when I teach them how to
Right.
do it. Um, so yeah, I think so. We still are looking at the racism concept. I think that's going to be
Yeah.
next. I think that's going to be next season. I
Just
think it's taking us a lot longer to pull that together than we thought.
yeah. I think it's a really important topic, but nobody really wants to talk about it. You
Yeah.
know.
I think nobody wants to be on the spot and with cancel culture and, the
Right.
backlash. I think nobody wants to be recognized for that.
You can cancel me. I don't. Doesn't really bother me. By the way.
Does this face look like I care?
Right.
Just kidding.
I
That was
don't
so bad.
I don't pay enough attention to that stuff to
I
where
don't. But
it doesn't hurt me. You know.
but we are very much online, just in
Yeah.
just because of our the nature of our jobs and how we have to advertise ourselves. So I could see people be uncomfortable with that. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, so we have a couple things on the table that we're deciding as we go. We're going to finish up this month. And as always, when we finish a season, because this is season 2, as always, like we've been doing it forever, we'll take a week or two off
Yep.
to reorganize and come up with another
Oh, we
segment.
only have 2 episodes left.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
3.
next week's no.
Did I drop you? Oh, maybe. There you are. See, this is what we're talking about. I live in the black hole of the internet. You should
You
have
know,
heard
you
me.
didn't.
I was
Oh, that
like,
was
did I
me.
drop you?
That
Are
was
you there?
me. It
Oh,
was
was
my
that you?
connection. Yeah, that was my
Oh, it's
connection.
usually mine. Hey, score one for Nichole.
Let me let me look at what do we got here.
But
Do we
yeah,
have
so
two or
I
three?
I would love for people to maybe say what they would like to hear from us in
Yeah,
next season.
yeah. Maybe I'll throw out uh uh what do people want to see in the next episode out on Facebook. Maybe I'll do
That's
that.
a good one. Yeah, I think we should do that. All right. Well, I think we should wrap it up. I think we
Me too.
jabber-jawed around enough, and I think people might be tired of hearing from us now.
Yep, I
All
do too.
right. Well, thank you guys. I hope you found it useful. Send us messages if you want about what our systems are like, how we started out, because both of
Hmm.
us severely shoestrung it for
Hmm.
quite a while before we were able to build up our systems. So
Hmm.
let us know. And parents too, if you want to reach out, or students, and on what you need to do to provide the best opportunities for your student when it comes to online learning, what you need to practice, feel free, message us. We'll be happy to give you guys some answers. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, bye.